All right, guys. So today, hold on, can y'all hear me? Yeah, y'all can. All right. So we just got news. Honestly, if you look at the NASDAQ, it's kind of starting to come back down right now. So it looks like some other news might have just came out, but the market is kind of reeling from the news that dropped about 10 to 15 minutes ago about Pakistan's defense minister reportedly signaling that the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement. Their interior minister has also arrived in Tehran, according to an Iranian official. You can see the effects of this on markets here. Number one, oil ended up dumping down on this report. It actually went red on the day in a morning where markets were already pretty green. Or in a morning where markets were already kind of back and forth and oil was kind of elevated. The NASDAQ started to dip, though, here, if we look at it. But look at, I'm trying to find this. Look at oil here. So look at what the move oil made from this. It's already down to $82 a barrel here for WTI crude. This is where the catalyst came out right here about Pakistan's foreign minister signaling that we might be close to some type of deal. Again, it reportedly signals the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement. Now, this is after the president sent Iran a list of demands. Which is kind of the same thing that they did to us yesterday. So they sent us a list of demands yesterday, and so Trump sent them a list of demands this morning. All of it has caused some doubts in Hormuz. But again, geopolitical risk is back on a little bit today after Pakistan's defense minister signals the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement and the situation is moving towards peace. Oil and the dollar down, stocks and treasuries moved up a little bit. But as I say this here right now, look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is actually coming down right now for some reason here. It could be, I see rockets hit camps in the northeast of Iranian Kurdish opposition camp northeast of Iraq's Erbil, according to reports. I do see that. Maybe that's what's doing it here. But, the NASDAQ kind of giving back a lot of these gains. And I'm just now reading more that the Pakistan's interior minister arrives in Iran's capital to hold discussions with Iranian officials. But yeah, markets are moving a little bit this morning. Hello, chat. Good morning here today, guys. What's up, team? What's up, Spacex, Zeke, Ava, Smart, Jonathan, Judith, Ashun? Yeah, the market's open today, Judith. Steve, what's up, dude? Yeah, we got ADP's report today. Nick, Womble, Taps, Glass Half Full, Rooftop, Brian, Bromax, Old Hack, Neon, Captain, Wanna Be a Trader, Plasma, Sigma, Todd, Shadow, Rooftop, I think I said Rooftop, Duors, good morning, chat. Just took profit longs for 900, 4-hour trade, all done, baby. Hey, 4-hour trade is good. I wish I could hold trades for 4 hours. What's up, Farmer? Nvidia running on the deal. Yeah, Nvidia had their news, if you see in the title, about their $500 billion deal. They did have that news. Hey, what's up, Plasma? What's up, Don? What's up, Rand, Max, Central, Taco, Matthew, Sam, Darkage, Boo Boo Bear, J Violet, Mr. Pew, Kato, Dominique, Chris Cross, Secrets, Have, AI, Up and Away, Crispy, Trademaster, Pro Slayer, Alan, K, Exotic, Alexis, YZ, Jason, Christian. Hello, guys. Good morning, and girls and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, look at the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ's actually giving some of this back here. Most things are slightly green on the day. Nvidia's up, but Nvidia pulled back pretty substantially yesterday. Oil's obviously still up a little bit from the last few days. It's back up to 80s. It was at 70 something the last time I looked at it yesterday. So it's about 78. We ended up rising most of the day yesterday on uncertainty. What's up, Michelle? What's up, William? We ended up rising most of the day yesterday on essentially just uncertainty here. And now we are back up some. We are at $82 a barrel right now, but we were at 84s, almost $85 a barrel. And honestly, prior to this catalyst, we were pushing towards some of those levels that we saw in July. And speaking of July, we have the inflation report tomorrow that covers July. CPI inflation data for July tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with all of this. We'll see where oil goes. We'll see if Pakistan, the signals that they're giving us are correct. But oil is down a little bit on the day, slightly now after this catalyst here. But I'm looking at the NASDAQ. Look at the NASDAQ turn here. This is kind of a steep turn back down. You could argue you could buy it maybe, but I'm trying to see what's bouncing enough. I see MU and memory plays are actually green on the day. You can see like MU here. We're up slightly, not really that high though. SanDisk at 1200s. We have like SK Hynix up here at 130s. And I'm still looking for other news here that might influence markets. Yeah, we also had news. Remember that Nvidia is partnering with a bunch of banks, really, and Wall Street giants to raise $500 billion for AI build-out, including data centers. So that's some of the big stories that have dropped this morning. Nvidia said yesterday it partnered with 6 major financial institutions to launch compute financing platforms aimed at raising $500 billion or more in capital for AI infrastructure. Jensen Huang said on X that the company has the option to backstop up to $125 billion or 25% of potential deals from it. The move shows how surging demand for AI computing capacity is drawing institutional investors. Governments, companies, and startups are racing to build data centers. So, yeah, and the big companies that Nvidia did this deal with are Apollo, BlackRock, Blackstone, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, and KKR for the financing platforms. So it's intended to broaden access to Nvidia's based infrastructure. Jensen Huang said, quote, "These financing platforms will help customers access scarce compute at scale and build the AI factories that will power every industry and country in the age of AI." Jensen Huang. He said this arrangement would, quote, "create dedicated pools of capital at significant scale at attractive rates for customers." But the company didn't disclose the terms. He didn't discuss the terms, like what the commitments were by each firm or a timetable for when, the planned $500 billion will be spent on what. So maybe some spending fears, more worries about infrastructure building. But so far, we're doing okay. Again, I had to change the title of the stream after this drop. Oil's still up from the last time I looked at it, but again, oil's still up from the last time I looked at it, but it is technically red on the day. Oil is down. We'll see what happens with this. Again, the last few days in geopolitics have not been filled with harmony. Instead, they've been filled with back and forth. Iran sending us a list of demands. Now we are sending them a list of demands. And now we're getting kind of the opposite news this morning regarding this Pakistan thing, with Pakistan saying, we're very close to a deal. Or some. Let me clarify. Pakistan's defense minister again reportedly signals the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement. Now, maybe the agreement is just a ceasefire for us to work out another deal. We've seen that in the past. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe not. Maybe this is a finalized deal or something like that. But, until we get something, I'm skeptical. And I think that's understandable to be skeptical until we get, real news on this. You see a lot of overreactions. Honestly, there's been some trades that you could probably make around oil over the last few months where whatever the big move is, just do the opposite. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not saying I do that. But whatever the big move is, do the opposite. We're probably going to fill some of that gap on the other side. I'm not telling you to do it. Like I said, guys, that's not me. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. And if you do this, you might lose. But that might have been the move over the last 3 months, really. Just based off of and I've covered this all the time. Yeah, flip-flopper is what I'm going to call it. I'm gonna trademark that. It can go for a long time. Maybe the close to the agreement headline is just a news story so Pakistan can buy a bunch of oil. Maybe. Maybe. I'm sure there's certainly some insider trades going on somewhere. Zombie stocks. Some semi-agreement, art of the deal. It's just money, make some, lose some. Hey, what's up? I don't know how to pronounce some of y'all's names here. I'm trying to pronounce your names, you know. I'm worried y'all are trying to trick me into a curse word. So I'm gonna go Defeki. Yeah. Pakistan wants the prestige of brokering the peace. Yeah, I mean, and historically, when they said we've been close to a deal, they've been right. Right, so again, they have some credibility here regarding Pakistan. They have some. Again, when they've said we've been close before. Don't you dare do it, Farmer. Although I do laugh at some of those videos, you know, Farmer. I do laugh at some of those videos about the guy pranking the Walmart customer service. I laugh like a 15-year-old as soon as I watch those videos, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Buy or sell oil right now. What do you guys think? Buy or sell oil? Oil, WTI crude, West Texas Intermediate crude down to $82.25 a barrel. And again, this is after Pakistan's interior minister arrives in Iran's capital to hold discussions that Pakistan signals U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement and things are shaking up in favor of peace, which is a very optimistic quote. But it's not so optimistic in which we can't backpedal a little bit. Let's just be honest here. And so we'll see what happens. Gold, by the way, guys, has flown up here. Look at gold. Gold hit almost $4,500 yesterday. It's down a little bit this morning relative to where it was, but gold has flown up, I should say, to almost $4,500 a barrel. It's at $4,450 right now. If we take a look at yields this morning, I mean, I expect yields to fall pretty fast on this report. Yeah, I mean, look, here's 2-year Treasury yields. You know, I mean, as soon as this news came out, you can see them drop on this report. They drop pretty quick. Lower oil means lower yields, lower inflation potential, lower rate sentiment because of lower inflation. But yeah, we'll see if they stay down. Again, if we look at the last 5 days here, I mean, we've had escalating things over the last 5 days. And so yields are up, but, you know, they just dropped some on this news report, so we'll see if they stay down. Tomorrow is CPI inflation data, of course. So with tomorrow's inflation data, we're still looking about 50-50 likely that we're going to raise rates next month. About 48% likely right now that we're going to raise interest rates next month. 52% likely that we will keep rates steady at 3.5 to 3.75%. And I think tomorrow's inflation report is going to have a lot to do with this based off of what the Fed says. I think that's going to give us the big signal in regards to what the Fed decides to do in the next meeting in September. I think that's going to give us the big signal on whether we're going to raise or cut. Honestly, I think even if inflation comes out high, we're still probably going to pause, not cut. Sorry, I think even if inflation comes out high, we're still probably going to pause. I don't think we're going to be moving rates, but there's a chance. There's definitely a higher chance than I would say there was last meeting. I thought last meeting it was pretty likely we would pause. I think there's a little bit higher chance we raise depending on what CPI shows up in the next meeting. And obviously we're going to see the odds swing back and forth until then, but I still think there's a good chance we pause rates next meeting too. So I think especially if we get some type of deal with Iran and oil stabilizes, they're going to use that as a reason to justify not raising rates. And I think that's what it'll look like. If we get some type of deal done, ceasefire, oil stabilizes and falls, you know, I think that's what it'll look like. So have a profitable day, everyone. Hey, thank you, man. Buy it. Short oil. Brit will be back tomorrow. It's vague enough to be extremely fadeable without confirmation. You talking about this news? Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things I've been doing lately is playing over reactions. And honestly, I said this right after this report. Like, right after this report when the NASDAQ ripped up. I said this right after this report. And since then, the NASDAQ has done this. And so I'm mad. You know, I did not fade this move. I should have known. I mentioned it. I didn't do it. It's kind of early for me to trade here. It's only, 7:30 in the morning market time. But I should have done it. Because the NASDAQ has given a lot of this move back already. So we'll see if we hold. But here's gold. Here's oil. Oil's even bounced back about like 35% of the move or so. So, hey, what's up, Bog? For what it's worth, we pause next meeting. Yeah, Steve, I think we do too. I think we pause as well. I think it depends on inflation, but I think even if inflation comes out, it depends on what inflation shows up as. But even if inflation shows up slightly higher tomorrow, I still think we pause. I mean, there's a good chance we hike. It's definitely just a guess, based off of, But again, I think there's a lot of things that could move it. Whether we get a deal done with Iran, and that stabilizes oil, that's going to give a green light for the Fed not to raise rates and for the Fed to pause rates. I don't think we're going to cut, but I think that's going to be a roadblock to hikes. And they're going to say, hey, look, oil's fallen. Let's not raise rates. And I think even with some dissenters, I still think they're going to wait. Jot ignoring my wisdom. Bro, where is your wisdom, dude? The last thing I saw you say pew. I gotta scroll all the way up, dude. My finger hurts from having to scroll this pew. Ouch, dude. Man, I got a cramp in my finger, bro. Because I don't see... All I see is doubling down long on oil. That's all I read. That's your last post. Where's the wisdom in that? I mean, I'm not saying that's not wise. I don't know. I'm in top chat. It automatically reverts the top chat. I'm looking at live chat here. We're F no matter what, how you carve it up. But hey, lap dances are half off. What are you talking about, V? My wisdom, all good things to come to an end. Great song, by the way. I don't know what half the chat is talking about today. Wisdom. Ouch. Nvidia CEO even looks AI generated. Bro, he is. And it's ironic because he created the chips that you need to produce AI. And so he is AI generated, brother. Everybody's thumbnail is at this point in time. Let's just be honest. No, I don't think it's Pakistan just likes being relevant here, to be honest. I think they're the mediators here. And we'll see if they hold. IBM is a low-risk way for investors to gain exposure to quantum computing rather than investing in a small, risky, pure-play quantum stock. Yeah, but IBM is also software, right? So you're getting exposure to software as well. And I don't know if you necessarily want that exposure to software right now, but maybe you do. I mean, software stocks, there's Microsoft, ServiceNow, Adobe. Yeah, prosperity, that's right. I said good day, sir. You get nothing, Where's Palantir here? Palantir back up to the 170s, man. It's still got a high PE ratio, though. But it's growing into it slowly. And so maybe, Palantir will do it. Palantir's PE ratio is still wild, but maybe it could grow into it slowly, is what I'm thinking. We're at 173s. I'm still kind of mad I didn't buy gold at 4,000. I should have bought more gold at 4,000. Pakistan news is just more of the same. A deal is closed. Weeks later, no deal. Right. No, honestly, again, I'm not mad at you. And people hear me say this because I think people make it really political and it's not. I mean, I guess it kind of is. But I'm not being political. I'm very neutral. I think both sides have flip-flopped a lot. And I think anytime you get news from one side, the other side, denies it most of the time. And we've seen this a lot, and that's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of moves to fade here. I think oil spikes up big, you know, a lot of the time it's going to come back down within a few days. And when oil falls pretty big, a lot of the time it's going to go back up within a few days. Not always. There's obviously risks. But I think fading some of these moves in oil have made a lot of sense over the past 3 months, 4 months. Because this is about, how many deals have we gotten already? It's just back and forth. It's back and forth. And I'm sure, like I said, realistically, I'm sure there's some insider trades being made here. On both sides. I think they're both probably, you know, going... I think somebody's doing something. Because if you know when oil's going to jump, you know... Like, regardless of what people say, insider trades are still, you know, very common in Wall Street. Understanding the politics without emotion is needed for a good trading result. No, 100%. I'm drinking coffee, dude. I'm here. Who's Jonathan? Do we see another $130 Palantir? Do you have any calls on Palantir and Amazon? If so, what's the setup? I don't have call options on them. I'm in Amazon. But I don't have any call options. I'm not a big options guy. I'm not against you. I mean, I like options too, but on Iran in the US, there are tons of other countries that have their own agendas and influences. Yeah, the dollar index is down here on some of this news, which makes sense, right? Yields are down, so the Dixie is down. But honestly, the Dixie didn't drop that much. It's still technically green on the day. And again, the logic of this is that when the dollar index drops, it's the dollar compared to a basket of other assets, right? So it's basically strength or weakness of the US dollar is essentially what this is compared to other countries' currencies. And so when oil drops, yields go down. When yields are down, less people buy yields. And the dollar weakens probably a little bit because less people are using it to buy up bonds. So the dollar did drop, but the dollar's still slightly green on the day relative to whatever the previous close is calculated as on this chart. The Nasdaq's still technically green on the day as well today. Still trying to head up here. Waiting on CoreWeave. What's up, Faye? Don't believe your lying eyes. Are my eyes lying? You know? Definitely don't believe your lying eyes, I guess. Problem with Iran news is that all sides keep trying to sell us the same bridge. Yeah, no, I mean, both sides continue to just kind of put out, like, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter what the truth is. It just matters what's going to benefit their side the most. And that's the unfortunate thing about, like, really, like, public perception conflicts like this is because both sides are just trying to pad their public perception based off of what they're saying, and there's not a lot of truth. Sometimes there's some truth, but there's not. It's definitely not pure truth in what they're saying, unfortunately. Enter long 2 Nasdaqs. All right. Let's see if the market holds though. Long or short oil right now? I think I asked this earlier. I'm tempted to buy oil right here, but again, the worry here is that if this is one of those real ones, the risk here, to be honest, is that obviously we get some type of actual deal announced while I'm in the trade, and then, you know, that's bad news. But I am tempted to, I don't know, the Nasdaq looks like a dip buy right here, to be honest. And we did have the Nvidia $500 billion deal where a bunch of people are going to finance data center build out and infrastructure. Yeah, I'm reading about this $500 billion deal by Nvidia. Again, so Wall Street underwriting AI infrastructure, sovereign grade asset class. So Apollo Global, Blackstone, BlackRock, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, and KKR is assembling a $500 billion funding package in partnership with Nvidia. It's intended to cover the full stack of chips, power generation, and data centers. Again, $500 billion. Blackstone stands as the world's largest alternative asset manager. They have over $1 trillion in assets. Brookfield manages over $900 billion. Apollo Global, they oversee approximately $700 billion. KKR brings more than $600 billion. So, you know, they have Goldman Sachs in there too. So again, they're partnering with Nvidia. Yeah, so now I'm reading this Yahoo Finance article. It says we are now entering the third phase, the full-scale mobilization of private equity and global banking giants to institutionalize compute as a core infrastructure play. This shift from corporate-led financing to institutional-grade consortium signals that the capital requirements for AI have outgrown the balance sheet of even the largest tech firms. It's 2.5 times the size of the Google financing network. And with that, I mean, look, Nvidia's bounced back a lot. Nvidia's at 220s, but it still went down yesterday. It was at 225 yesterday. Here's the move from yesterday to today. So it's still down over the last 24 hours or so, but it's back. I mean, but it has been rebounding back up. It was under 200 for a while. So it's starting to get back up. Their highs are at 240s. I'm in Nvidia, by the way. I think I bought Nvidia. Where's my average price for this thing? I got in where? I got in at 194. So we are green in our Nvidia trade. So that's nice. We'll see if that holds. This was like months ago, but yeah, CPI tomorrow is the biggest catalyst of the week, and then PPI Thursday is also pretty big. Apple. Good morning, John. Wishing you a profitable day. Oil market structure appears to be shifting to the downside. Longs here are risky due to aggressive rejection. Yeah, I mean, look, longs are risky because I think if we're talking about longing oil, here's oil. Again, oil did this from Pakistan saying that the U.S. and Iran were close to a deal, right? And the NASDAQ ended up pushing up pretty heavily on that. But the problem is that if I decide to long oil down here, number one, I think there's probably a good chance it makes it back up here sometime today. But on the chance that it doesn't and we actually get a deal done here today, like on the chance that we do not make it back up there, even if I think there's a good chance we make it back up there, if we do not, and they announce more de-escalation, I guess is what I'll call it. If they announce more de-escalation, we might see a big drop. Even if we continue back up and nothing ends up happening, which I hope it does. I hope they get a deal done. Like, I hope they figure it out. I hope we can let some of these oil spikes and volatility subside a little bit. But, you know, I don't want to take the risk of longing here. You know, of course I could set a stop loss, but then getting some type of more finalized de-escalation done and then we just get a big drop. I just think the risk is too high for that. And so I'll probably leave oil alone right now. But you do want to watch the market here for sure. This came out about 5 minutes before I started the stream, maybe 10. So, and again, just to reiterate this, Pakistan's defense minister signaled the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement and that the situation is moving towards peace. With this, again, oil and the dollar have fallen, stocks, treasury, spot gold have risen. I'm looking at gold though, man. Gold is up there. $4,500 an ounce for gold basically right now, so. Don't long in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, you're probably right. Will Bitcoin break 70K after CPI? I mean, if CPI comes in low, probably, maybe. I hope it does. Here's Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's still sitting right around 64,000. But Bitcoin is going to react well to low inflation data. I mean, low inflation data is generally almost universally good. But Bitcoin wants low interest rates. They want easing. They do not want rate hikes. And lower inflation will open the door for more potential easing in the future. They will close the door to rate hikes in general if we get low inflation. Yeah, I mean, I would say Bitcoin wants low CPI inflation tomorrow. CPI is expected to decrease a little bit year over year in headline CPI, but increase a little bit relative to the previous print month to month. CPI is expected tomorrow at 0.2% for core, 2.5% for headline. Last time core showed up at 0%, so 0.2%, higher than previously, is expected tomorrow. Headline CPI is expected at 0.1%. Last time it was negative 0.4%. So it's expected to come in at a positive number, have actual inflation month to month versus the previous negative print. CPI year over year expected at 3.4. That's actually expected to go down a little bit to 3.5. But this is for the month of July. In July, we had in July, we had higher prices of oil, is what it was. So higher oil prices in July, making people nervous about the CPI print. But we'll see what happens here, to be honest. We'll see. We'll see if we hold. And a lot of markets are going to be kind of watching CPI inflation. It's going to be a really important print. It's something that most people are going to be paying attention to in markets. And so it's something that you want to watch. We'll be streaming the entire thing as soon as it drops live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Gold will be very reactive to it as well. Again, gold wants low yield, so if we show up low, gold should rip. If we show up high for inflation, gold might dump. The dollar index will react to it. If inflation shows up low, the dollar will probably pull back a little bit. If inflation shows up high, the dollar might rebound a little bit with yields. So very relevant. We want higher for cuts. No, we want lower inflation for cuts. One of the roadblocks for interest rate cuts is inflation, and so it basically, in cutting during a high inflation market can be seen as irresponsible in the Fed. Why? Because by cutting interest rates and stimulating the economy more, it can make inflation worse, not better. And so if inflation is already high, the Fed has their dual mandate, and depending on what the main priority is in their dual mandate, they have to focus on that side. So if the dual mandate is inflation and economic strength, or they want low inflation and economic strength. If inflation is high, they got to focus on the inflation side of it. And usually the way they do that is they can raise interest rates. They can not cut interest rates. They can keep rates steady at restrictive levels. And this will kind of push the economy down a little bit, push markets down, and ultimately slow inflation in that way. If we have deep labor weakness and the economy starts to turn, and again, maybe you could say we're in that now. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I know the last NFP report was negative. I know GDP was lower than expected last time. I know, we got a lot of headwinds right now, and I get it. But I don't necessarily think we're there yet. We'll have to see what the next few job reports show. But point is, if the labor market's weak, we can stimulate the economy, bring interest rates down. But again, one of the roadblocks to bringing interest rates down and stimulating is inflation. So if inflation's sky high, we're in the Middle Eastern conflict, oil's elevated, the Fed is much less likely to cut interest rates. If oil stabilizes, if inflation comes in low, if we get some type of de-escalation and more harmony in Iran, that is the situation where it's just going to be more likely we're going to cut interest rates. I don't think, as of next meeting, there's not even odds for a cut next meeting, because we're not going to cut next meeting. We're either going to pause or raise. But yeah, low interest rates, in order to cut interest rates, you need lower inflation. Where's the inflation? We're at what, 3.5% year over year? It all has to do with the oil right now, though. Honestly, the Nasdaq looks like a dip buy here. No, hold on, let me. Like you can see, I'm up about $6 grand in this thing. But the Nasdaq seems like a dip buy right here. No. I'm tempted to buy this dip. Oil prices keep going. I mean, oil price is still red, which is good. They're at $82 a barrel. And here's the thing that like to understand about, again, historical conflicts like this. Even if we are close to a deal, Iran might come out and be like, nah, bro, we're not, you know, the strait will never return to normal, you know. And so even if we are close to a deal, they might still say stuff like that because it continues to put pressure on the other side, just to understand. And so just, I'm not saying that's going to happen, just they could come out being like that. So even if we are close to a deal, so just be careful. I don't know if I'm going to buy oil. I think there's too big of a risk that some type of agreement is announced. And even with that, I still give it about 50-50 chance, but not dippy enough. Bear flag and oil by Riot. I think the Fed knows that inflation is from oil and the war, and I think we hold. Yeah, I mean, I think we pause too. I don't think we raise. Wash needs to raise and do quantitative tightening, Rob says. I mean, maybe. I mean, he could reduce the balance sheet. I think right now, I do think they have a dovish bias, or a easing bias, or whatever you want to call it. So, the 10-year yield's more likely to come in higher than expected than lower than the next 3 months. River AI says round includes investments from Nvidia and AMD, raises 1.1 billion led by General Catalyst. Is gold going higher? Gold's been mostly high all morning. It dipped a little bit overnight, but gold has been, it got up to 4,500s basically. It's dipped down some now. It's getting close. But gold's currently at 4,444. 4,444. Yeah, I mean, gas prices are definitely higher right now. All right, we're at 29,832 on the Nasdaq. I don't know. I'm tempted to buy this here, but I should probably wait a little while. But I just bought 4 contracts here. I just want to see if we get a bounce. Probably a little early. That's all right. And remember, the Apex Legacy sale, like, I got an email, so the Legacy sale does end tomorrow. So after today, you're not going to be able to buy Legacy accounts anymore. So today's kind of the last day to do it. If you want to check out Apex, I'll put the link up. It's a great way to help support the channel. They're an affiliate of mine, but if you use my code BGT when purchasing an account, it helps support the channel, and you get the max discount, whatever it is. You know, if they've got like basically $15 accounts on Apex, you can get a 5-pack bundle for $75. Check them out right here. Great way to help support the channel. Most day traders lose, so it's a good way to like learn. $15 accounts is the perfect way. You're still risking something, but you're not putting up 2 or 3 grand like I did when I first got started. All right, guys. So let's see if we hold here in the Nasdaq. I'm tempted to buy oil too, though. Any news today? We don't have any economic data today. The big economic data is tomorrow and Thursday. And so, yeah, the big day's CPI really tomorrow. See if the Nasdaq holds though. I'm watching like Nvidia here. Nvidia is close enough to 200s. They get higher outright yields than at the July auction. Should provide a more attractive entry point though. US is going to sell 3-year notes, 10-year notes, and 30-year bonds this week, apparently. I'm looking at news. It's still a little quiet here ahead of the... I'm still going to be looking at CHOP a lot today. I think sideways action makes sense ahead of CPI tomorrow. I think markets might be nervous. We're in a little bitty trade here, but honestly, markets were... I mean, they weren't that quiet yesterday. What did keeping the trade normal get for Iran? Huge candle just now in the boomer market. On the Dow? I mean, I gotta pull up the new Dow. I don't know what the new symbol on the Dow is. Oh. It's not U. What is it? What is it now? Z? Definitely not Z. Maybe the volume is just low. Alright, well, I guess it is H. It's just low volume here. Yeah, look how choppy this is, though. I'm looking to trade, but... I mean, we had that big news earlier. Yeah, so here's 8 a.m. Sideways is my take two, John, but the question is where at the higher or lower end of the opening range. I'm not sure. I'll have to watch price action to see. But I know it's the day before CPI, and a lot of the time we get flat, choppy, boring action ahead of it. What asset are you guys interested in buying today? So what asset do you guys want to buy? Oil? Buy or sell oil is what I keep asking. The Dow, XRP, Nvidia, Bitcoin, only XRP. Yeah, Spacex honestly ran up a good bit here. I'm in this trade. I'll probably cut some of the size. Honestly, we're just chopping too much. But SpaceX at 137s actually went up to almost 140s right now. And again, so far, this is my week here trading. So far, we are up in the last few days about 500 bucks. So we've had a good week so far. Not a crazy good week, though. Last month was better so far, but... Sell oil. SpaceX needs to collect more government contracts. Gold and silver buy. I think a lot of it depends on what you expect for the inflation report. If you expect lower inflation, optimistic inflation, you know, then gold might go up. And I mean, you could argue that's a buy in gold. If you expect higher inflation, then I mean, you could argue gold's going to go down. And so it really depends on what you expect for tomorrow. And again, I guess that's a good question for the chat here. We haven't done a poll yet. And I guess if we're going to ask this on the poll, do we get higher or lower CPI inflation than expected tomorrow? That's going to be the question for the poll. Alright. I'm going to even give it an as expected option. Alright, higher or lower here? There's the poll. Vote on it. Let me know what you guys think. Do we get higher or lower inflation data? Oil back to 410. Dipping my toes at SpaceX. 8 a.m. A lot of limited hours. Yeah. I am in a little trade here. I'm gonna again, I showed you guys this trade earlier. I'm gonna take a piece of this off on this bounce. This I don't know if this is 8 o'clock movement or what, but this seems to be some type of decent green candle here. News sources reporting a new security incident in the Red Sea. Nature of the incident is unclear. IBM are going to deploy Nvidia HGX B300 cluster on IBM Cloud. We just got that news for IBM. And IBM's jumping up some on this news. We're still long in the NASDAQ right here. We've taken most of the profit off, but here's IBM. Again, IBM is going to deploy Nvidia HGX B300 clusters on IBM Cloud. Nvidia's moving up a little bit on this as well. It's probably helping my trade as well. But we're still in this. I'll give it some time. I mean, I usually take 5 to 6 micros. Again, IBM announced a collaboration with Together AI to deliver IBM and Nvidia AI infrastructure under a multi-year $240 million US dollar agreement. I might take some more here, though. It seems bullish to me. I mean, we're starting to wake up to the more volatile price points. We also have ADP, the weekly report, which is not really hyper influential, but we do have ADP data dropping in 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to move anything, to be honest, but it's something. Hold the trade for 4 hours, John, bro. I wish. Long metals, choppy until tomorrow. Today's an uptrend or low trend. I think today will probably be sideways trend to a certain extent. But we've already scaled out of this here. I might add some more and then just hold it break even. It looks like it's going to push. There we go. There we go. Look at that candle. I don't know what this is. I'm going to take a piece of that off now. Get out a little bit more up there. I think I'm just going to get out here. I don't know why we had that big upward move. Small cushion on the day so far. Oil's fallen. Buyers not stepping in on oil so far. How many contracts do you take as a base? Jimmy? Who's Jimmy? Jimothy? What are we thinking today on the SPY? I don't know about the SPY today. I think markets are slightly up. Oil is slightly down. But I think most of the time ahead of CPI we get choppiness. It's not every time though. Sometimes we get movement and more. So it depends on a lot of different things here. But most of the time ahead of CPI, like days like today, we get sideways price action. So we'll see. The NASDAQ's starting to move up. Here's the S&P. NASDAQ and S&P seem to be finding some type of movement here on the upside though. It's a little quiet today so far, really. Hey, what's up, AT? Nice jam in the background. I don't know. IBM's still reversing here, but Nvidia's still moving up. Memory names still kind of flat, though. I mean, they're green on the day, technically, but I think, again, markets are kind of flat and neutral ahead of the CPI report tomorrow. The big news circulating in markets is still the $500 billion Nvidia deal to underwrite AI infrastructure by a bunch of big banks, really. Apollo Global, Blackstone, BlackRock Infrastructure Partners, Brookfield Asset Management, Goldman Sachs, and KKR. They're assembling $500 billion in funding package in partnership with Nvidia. So it mobilizes capital intended to cover full stacks of chips, power generation, and data centers. And so more spending on data centers by big companies here. But again, markets are mostly green ahead of, even with this news. The Pakistan news is still in people's minds. I think Pakistan basically said that the U.S. and Iran are close to a deal and that peace might return. And some more de-escalating things here. Early this morning, about 7 a.m. market time, they said this. They said the situation is moving towards peace. Which is kind of the opposite, again, of what we've heard. NASDAQ's still rebounding here. Look at the NASDAQ jump a little bit. Again, it's kind of the opposite of what we heard. I'm looking at oil right now. But basically, yesterday we heard news that Iran sent us a list of demands. And then today, I think Trump sent them a list of demands. And so kind of back and forth regarding that. But then this morning, we got the Pakistan news that they say we're close to a deal and that peace might return. And so it's kind of business as usual here, where it's hard to figure out which way to go. But the NASDAQ does seem to be rebounding some here. Here's oil. NASDAQ's still popping higher here, though. Seems to be mostly, Nvidia, MU, SanDisk are kind of rebounding here. So this seems mostly chip related. Here's Nvidia. Up to 220. Here's MU. Here's SanDisk. They're all kind of rebounding. Here's oil falling pretty quickly too, though. Look. Maybe not super fast, but oil might test this low at 81.60s. This is WTI crude right here. I don't know if this is news driven or what. Hey, what's up, Boar? Hey, thank you, man. Shorts will be wiped out. Gold's popping. We're going up, up, and up. Up, up, and away. I mean, maybe we are. Alright, look at oil. No, oil's moving a little bit while the NASDAQ goes higher here. Again, Pakistan's U.S. and Iran are close to some arrangement on peace. I'll put this up on screen, I guess, so people can see it. But that's the news we're showing right now. U.S. and Iran are close to some deals on peace. Here it is right here. There we go. I just put it up on screen so you can see it. IBM had news earlier. Let me figure out what the news was. IBM had news earlier that they're going to deploy Nvidia HGX B300 cluster on IBM Cloud. So they're going to deploy Nvidia's HGX B300 cluster on IBM Cloud. They also announced a collaboration with Together AI to deliver IBM and Nvidia AI infrastructure under a multi-year $240 million agreement. So that's why IBM's moving a little bit this morning. Got up to 240s. I'm looking at oil. I mean, obviously, I think oil looks like a short right here. But I also think you could say, hey, we flip-flopped enough on this. We might be heading back up. And so I don't know which way to take oil. Like I said, that's my question today. Buy or sell oil right now? Long or short in oil? What do you guys think? Because I really don't know which way to go here with oil. I think you can reasonably argue either side. You can say, hey, look, you know, Pakistan says the U.S. and Iran are close to a deal. If we do get more details about that, oil prices might continue to fall as more details emerge. And that's certainly plausible, I think. Or you could also say, hey, we've been here many times before. I guess the point is it depends on time frame. You can say, hey, we've been here before. Oil prices went down to $68 a barrel because we thought we were getting a deal, and then now they're back up to 80 something, and they went up to 90 something, and now we're back and forth, and things took a turn for more escalation over the last month. And that's plausible as well. You know, I think short term though, it's looking like a short in oil, but long term, maybe we backpedal here. I don't know. So. It's a bear flag, long. No, I haven't cooked. Always sideways. The whole story is getting tiring and less effective when they try to spike it up. It's likely a short. The path to a deal is inching forward each day. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a short. But if we look at the history of this, I mean, it depends on the time frame. Today, it looks like a short. But also, you know, just to give you the other side of that, I said this earlier, even if we are close to a deal, it doesn't mean they're not going to come out being like, yo, you know, we'll never reach a deal. Hormuz will stay closed forever. You know what I mean? Like, even if we are close to a deal, again, it's such a big public perception thing on both sides that even if we are close to a deal, they might come out disputing that, essentially, to put more public pressure. And that might make oil go up. And so it's kind of ambiguous here. I mean, I would say I lean a little bit more towards an oil short, but I don't think there's a lot of edge either way. I think really we go either way here. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, oh my gosh, bro. I swear, this song plays over and over again, dude. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, this song finds a way to play on my freaking playlist, dude. And I'm tired of it, dude. I'm going to send a complaint letter to Epidemic Sounds because it's nonsense, bro. No matter where I go, that song pops out. It's not even on the list. It's not even going in order. It's like, you know what? Hear this song again. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Epidemic Sounds. It's your destiny, bro. Laugh song, please. Dude, I don't know where the laugh song is. Basically short oil scalping, long sometimes. Brit set you up. Brit will be here tomorrow. People take profits today or hedge with puts. Yeah, I mean, it's the day before CPI, and CPI is going to have such a large influence over markets right now. Oh, the ADP data just dropped. My bad, guys. The ADP data just dropped. Again, I don't really think it's market moving. It showed up at 8.25 thousand, though. It did show up weaker than expected here. NASDAQ didn't really move, as I said, but again, ADP data showed up at 8.25K versus 15,000 previously. Here's the number right here. ADP jobs did show up. Again, it wasn't super influential here. The weekly report doesn't really move markets much, but I put it up in chat right now just so you can see it. Look, there it is right there for the ADP data if you want to see it. But again, it showed up at 8.25 thousand, so it did show up weaker. Another weak jobs report though, and maybe this is dovish and markets are going to like this and we end up reacting well. But look at Nvidia here. Hold on, I don't think this is from the jobs report. Look, Nvidia is still moving up. It's at 220, almost 221. Yeah. Again, ADP showed up weaker than expected, 8.25 thousand versus 15,000 previously. But this is the weekly report. All right, 29,860s here. I should have held that long on the NASDAQ, no? your charts should have watermarks for presentation purposes. You mean like this? Isn't that a watermark? No? Like that's Nvidia right there. You can see the Nvidia symbol. Depends on what kind of watermark you're talking about. Any oil weakness? John, that's very mean of you. Unemployment, first leg of stagflation, second leg of tomorrow, high inflation, maybe. Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda for sure, Sam. But you guys know me. I'm going to change my name to shoulda, woulda, coulda trader. I think there's a certain ring to that. Yeah, I mean, we got two watermarks here already. We got the Nvidia watermark on the chart right here. Look, there it is. And then there's down here somewhere, there should be, like somewhere around here, there should be a watermark at the bottom of the screen over there somewhere. Like a beginner trading one. So, SPY massive puts at the open, NBIS in memory. Yeah. Can you check gold? Gold, honestly, I don't know. We did a poll earlier, and gold is going to react depending on what we show up as in this poll. But the poll earlier shows 53% think we're going to have higher inflation tomorrow, 25% think we're going to have lower, and 23% think we're going to have as expected here. So most people think we're going to have higher inflation tomorrow. Your other right? That's my left. All right, let's see if the NASDAQ holds. Honestly, I'm green on the day. We're not really green. But I want to see if the NASDAQ holds here. Right? 830 drops at today, but we don't have any 830 data here. We got existing home sales at 10. Not the biggest market moving thing, but maybe it'll show strength or weakness in housing, and the 10-year yields will move from it. But right now, we don't have any 830 data today. The big one's tomorrow. Really, the whole week is big after today. We got CPI tomorrow, PPI Thursday. Friday, we have retail sales. So we got a bunch of data this week, and Michigan data on Friday as well. So after today, which is kind of a boring day, is when we get some stuff. They will cook the books. Still looking at other news here, but again, private hiring slowed for a sixth straight week according to ADP. Employers added only 8,250 jobs per week in the 4 week ending in July 25th, down sharply from 21K in the period ending June 20th. But these carry a 2 week lag and remain subject to revision, but the next one, the monthly report from ADP last week was weak, and then the NFP data was really weak. Big revisions. I think we revised over 100,000 jobs, plus had weakness in the actual NFP data where we showed up at what, negative 32,000 for NFP. Kind of shocked people and freaked people out regarding weakness there. We just showed up negative here for NFP. So just be careful, guys. Be careful. Jamie Dimon thinks Generation Z is wrong to give up on the American dream. Jamie Dimon says Gen Z is understandable to feel discouraged, but wrong to abandon the American dream. He argues that most Americans have become wealthier while acknowledging that the bottom 20% have been left behind. He points to housing costs, stagnant incomes, and unequal opportunities as major challenges fueling younger generations' pessimism. His message is that the American dream is still achievable for most, but it needs to become accessible to more Americans. Yeah, I mean, realistically, a lot of this has to do with a mix of like, whoa, hold on. Why did the NASDAQ just drop like this? Oil just spiked simultaneously, look. Look, here's oil. What just happened? I mean, it's a big candle. It's the largest candle we've seen in like an hour. But it completely retraced here. Let's see if we get anything coming out over the tape soon. I guess we gotta check Truth Social, make sure there's no, secret tweets going on here that we don't know about because we're not paying the 100K. I don't see anything. Yeah, I mean, it was a quick move. Y'all saw that candle? I mean, I noticed it immediately, but... again, just to put it out there, the U.S. forces reportedly fired on a Panama flag ship that attempted to run the American blockade of Iranian ports early Tuesday, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing a U.S. official. And so this is the news. This is the news right here. Yep. I knew it was something here, and now here goes the NASDAQ, and here goes oil here. So again, this is what I'm trying to say. It's flip-floppy today. I should have longed oil. Oil's now jumping up. On this news, again, U.S. forces reportedly fired on a Panama flag ship that attempted to run the American blockade of Iranian ports early Tuesday, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing a U.S. official. Oil is jumping up. NASDAQ is retracing any gains it made from the Pakistan deal news. Look at the NASDAQ fall here. I don't know. I'm honestly tempted to buy the NASDAQ right now. You know what? We'll buy it. Screw it. We're already green on the day. We can take a little risk here. The question is the move justified? I don't know. Unless we get more escalation back to back here, I think we might retrace back up there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is dumb. I mean, oil has jumped all the way up to almost 83 a barrel, though. The question is this an overreaction? S&B reports a share stake of 1.5 million Class A shares in Spacex as of June 30th. But yeah, this news is basically U.S. forces reportedly fired on a Panama flag ship that attempted to run the American blockade of Iranian ports early Tuesday, according to the Wall Street Journal. Oil's jumping up a little bit. Here's oil. I'll try to come back to this. Oil has filled some of this gap it made from optimism. The NASDAQ is dipped, but I ended up buying this here. I think, yeah, I think it might retrace back up a little bit here. It's small though. We'll add more as we go in, but I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that could move things here. Yeah, I mean, I'll fix it here. I'm trying to... There we go. I don't know if this is enough escalation necessarily to freak people out. Again, this is the Wall Street Journal posting an article here. Apparently it was a U.S. helicopter that fired. They targeted the vessel's rudder in the Gulf of Oman, caused a fire that was later extinguished. No casualties. Is the music too loud? I can turn it down. Just let me know if you need me to, guys. I'm waiting to see what oil does and what the NASDAQ does. If oil drops, NASDAQ should move higher here. We bought the dip here. Again, it's a small trade. I just want to see if we retrace some. All right, we're starting to creep up there. Is the music too loud, chat? Yes or no? Let me know. Ugh. Nvidia still heading up a little bit towards highs, though. Depends on what oil. Oil is pulling back a little bit from this news, so it did move it a little bit, but it didn't hold. No, a hair down. No, no. All right, there we go. I mean, maybe I could have taken profit into this. I'll give it a second, though. Yes, it is too loud. I mean, I'll turn it down a little bit. There you go. I mean, this is such a small trade here, though. I'm going to add a little bit more to this. We have 5 contracts here. I'm trying to take some larger size, but all I'm saying is we better not get a report that's from Iran that's like, yo, the Strait will never be open. Nvidia moving up to 221s, so I think that's helping this position right now. No one expects a cool print. Prepare to be surprised tomorrow. I mean, if we show up cool, gold's going to rally. This is taking too long. Didn't they say no more negotiations until 2029? I was short and got the CPI will be cool. Vote on the poll. The poll's live. 52% think it's going to show up higher than expected on the poll. Hold on. There's a red candle here. We're still choppy here, though. Oil continues to fall back down, though. If we look at it, here's oil. So we'll see if the Nvidia and the Nasdaq continue to rally here. There's oil dropping more. I would assume that would be good for the Nasdaq, but I guess not. Maybe today is a range-bound day. Again, chat, join our Discord here. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to cut some of this here. I think we're just moving too much now. That's a red candle, too. I want to get out just in case it's something else, but I think we might bounce at the 200 exponential and go back up, but I'm just going to cut it right there. I mean, we're very green on the day. Here's gold. Gold's completely flat on the day ahead of CPI. Inflation will be lower at 3.4%. Well, yeah, 3.4% is what's expected. Last time we showed up at 3.5. So, I mean, if it shows up at 3.4, it'll be lower than last time. I don't know. July, we had higher oil prices, though, right? So, if we show up at 3.4 and it's lower than last time, but in July, we had higher oil prices. Oil tapped $90 a barrel in July. And so, I don't know. Month over month, we should have higher readings. Year over year, I'm not sure. But we'll see. What month over month inflation print do we get tomorrow, guys? What do y'all think? I'm going to go with 0.2. Slightly higher than expected at 0.1. We're expected at 0.1 tomorrow, right? I think so. Yeah, we're expected at 0.1 for headline. Yeah, so that's about right. All right, we did jump in another long here. Let's see what happens. 0.1. Good morning. What's up, Lyndon? Not fully in July. Bad music, bro? I don't know how to feel. I never know how to feel. Sometimes the chat's like, this is the greatest music I've ever heard. And then other times the chat's like, this is the worst music I've ever heard in my life. I think it's kind of calm. It's almost 90s-ish. I like it. What was the last PPI? Yeah, PPI might honestly be a little bit more volatile than CPI. We've seen PPI swing lately. So maybe we'll have higher PPI. PPI drops Thursday. It's expected at 0.2%. Alright, I'm just going to take some profit into this now, I think, on the way up. And we're also at the kind of the top of the shorter term range here. So we'll liquidate most of this and then hold a piece left. Yeah, PPI, you know, wholesale leads to consumer prices. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more off up here. And just sit. And remember, guys, the Apex Legacy sale ends tomorrow. They gave me an email, and they said it does end tomorrow. So again, after midnight tonight will be your last time to buy. You can use my code BGT. Again, it's a great way to help support the channel. If you want to learn to day trade, a $15 account on Apex makes sense. You're still probably going to lose it if you're learning and brand new, but it's a lot cheaper than putting up thousands and losing that. And it seems like that's not going to happen, but it happens a lot. If you put up thousands in the beginning, you're probably going to lose that. And so it's a great way to learn in trading futures. You trade the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, commodities, gold, oil, all that stuff that moves with a lot of the economic reports we cover. And again, if you use code BGT, you can use it on Lucid, Tradeify, Take Profit, Apex, and get the max discount. Here's the Apex link if you want to check it out. We appreciate the love, guys. NASDAQ's starting to bounce back here. Legacy accounts are the monthly subscription accounts that are larger and a little bit cheaper, I would say. Bought a bunch of software at the end of April, up 25%. Would you cut and pay higher penalties or hold till the year mark? What software are you in? So it depends on what software you're in. No crypto. You can trade, I think, micro Bitcoin on some of them. But honestly, it depends on what software companies you're in right now. Yeah, here's oil. Remind me, I'm still in the NASDAQ small. It's only like one contract here. But here's oil. If you look at what oil did, again, the next CPI report. All right, so the next CPI report covers this period of time. All right, so this is the month of July basically right here in regards to what oil prices have done. This is what gas prices did, oil prices did in July. So the last CPI print was cool. Tomorrow's print might not be. It depends. I mean, they're already expected to jump up month over month. Previous was negative month over month. They're expected that to jump up to 0.1. I'm going to go with 0.2 as my guess for tomorrow, but who freaking knows for CPI. But we did have higher oil in July. And I do think the CPI report is going to have a big influence on what the Fed does. Oh, yeah, I'm still in the NASDAQ here. All right, that's good. I think I'm just going to cut this in the green. I could hold it longer, but gives us a nice little cushion on the day heading into the open. So, hey, what's up, Tariq? Microsoft and Palantir. I mean, I like both of those companies long term. It just depends on what you want to do. I'm not an investment professional. I have no idea what they're going to do. But long term, we rip up right when I exit. But long term, I do like those. Yeah, this is a big Apex update. Yeah, the Apex update. Let me look at it. I saw it. Yeah, the Apex update was, where'd it go? I saw it. I don't know what happened to it. I saw the news. I have to find it. All right, but look at the Nasdaq start to head up here. Oil's not really moving. This is mostly chip related. Here's Nvidia. Look at Nvidia start to rise. We got memory play starting to rise. MU, SanDisk, SK Hynix. I mean, Spacex is still pretty green since yesterday. Apple's green on the day. Meta's green technically, although it's pretty much flat. Microsoft's technically red. This is mostly Nvidia here. Again, Nvidia did their $500 billion financing deal with big banks and financiers. Yeah, we have the 9 o'clock scrum happening in about 20 minutes. We'll see. Bro, did anybody watch the Game of Thrones finale, dude? Honestly, I wasn't that impressed. You know? The House of Dragon, I should say. I wasn't that impressed, man. I like the show, but I wasn't impressed by it. Like, they, you know. Anyways, Nvidia up to 221s. Yeah, House of Dragon. Yeah, it was alright. It wasn't. Yeah. Alright, look, we're at 850s. We're at 221s on Nvidia. Nasdaq finally starting to pull back some. Oil's still going, trying to go back red on the day. Yeah, they dragged it to 4. You know, you got Ulf drunk dragoning all over the place. You know, Team Budweiser. They got so much heat for how they butchered Season 8 that they slowed it down way too much. Like, House of Dragon should have been 4. They drug on too many things, I think. Or it should have been 3 seasons, I mean. But yeah, here's Oil. Oil's about to go red. He's at 82.30s here. So oil is basically at the previous closing price. Iran Supreme National Security Council Secretary says diplomatic policy will follow the Supreme Leader's guidance, prioritizing stronger deterrence, resistance to enemy coercion, and an immediate decisive response to any aggression. Iran will not back down if its people's rights or interests are threatened, end quote. Not really moving things. Nasdaq still doing okay on memory rebounding and chip bouncing back here. Collateralized DRAM obligations. Yeah, I mean that joke is funny. I like it. If you've ever seen The Big Short and really understand the mortgage crisis in 2007, 2008, a lot of it was done through what's called collateralized debt obligations. You know, these are essentially one of the tipping points to the 2007, 2008 mortgage disaster. And so him putting in DRAM, collateralized DRAM obligations, he's basically substituting the debt from the 2008 mortgage crisis to today with DRAM. Yeah. Alright, we're at 29,850s. Nasdaq's been bouncing at the 200 EMA though. Yeah. Again, we got news that U.S. fired on ships. It kind of pushed oil back down, but ships tried to break the blockade and apparently were fired on them. Reported by the Financial Times, or no, I'm sorry, reported by the Wall Street Journal earlier. That pushed oil back up a little bit, but now oil's still falling back down. We're still very range bound today, and I do think we're probably just going to have sideways range until tomorrow's CPI report. I expect slightly higher inflation, personally. Is what I expect. But we'll see. Nobody knows. I expect slightly higher inflation. But time will tell. You're making lurkers. Lurkers, show yourselves this morning. If you're watching the stream and maybe you're at work right now and you don't feel like communicating, tell your boss, stop. Give him your hand. Put your hand up. Say no. And say, I gotta communicate with John at the beginner trading stream. Tell him right now. Nvidia is starting to fall down here. Show yourself in the chat as well, lurkers. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Here's Nvidia dipping. Hey, thank you, Nicholas. Let's go. What's up, Peggy? Super high inflation, but I would not front run it. I believe the story is punching power. Or pricing power. I'm here. Yo, not a lurker. Let me read the chat here. Supreme Cardboard, lurking and working. Run it hot. I'm here lurking, watching Bitcoin since 2015. What's up, bro, Max? The millennial hand, right? Louisiana lurker here, and my boss doesn't listen. Hey, man, you're cooler for being from Louisiana. I can appreciate you more. You're cooler than most other people not from Louisiana. I'm sorry, guys. Open the snack bar. Hey. Cheers to you guys. I got my purple. It's not really an LSU mug, but I'm going to pretend it is. It's purple. It's Mardi Gras. What's up, Faye? Florida. Florida's cool. I just got back from Florida. We caught some trout in Florida. Actually went fishing again yesterday. I caught 2 bass and a little fish. I'll take it. I'll take it. I try not to be, but I have kids, homeschool. Yeah, it's all good. I'm just messing with you guys. What's up, crypto? What are your most promising lowish cap stocks to buy now for long term? I mean, lower cap stocks obviously come with a little bit more risk. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one and look. Yeah, 2 largemouth bass. I used a good old-fashioned worm and bobber setup. I like jigs too. Promising long-term and low cap? No, 100%. I mean, you can find good small cap companies. They're much more rare though. It depends on what you define as small cap as well. No, catch and release. We let them go. Marvell. None of my family has the patience for fishing. And honestly, in hindsight, when I was a kid, I didn't have the patience either. Bro, I swear, dude, I catch a fish. And yesterday I caught 3. And my son caught 1. But I catch a fish, dude. My whole family, you would think my family would be like, yeah. John caught a fish. Nice. Dude, I swear, I catch a fish. My whole family looks at me angry. My son definitely does. I'm like, hey, Jack, come look at this fish, bro. He's like, nah. That's all he says. I started to get stressed out as a parent because then if he doesn't catch a fish, it's going to be a shit show. He's going to be upset. And I don't want to deal with that. Who is trading single stock futures? Not many people here. Here's Nvidia single stock futures today. They're not moving at all. Nvidia, I would say, is one of the most heavily weighted influential stocks, and its single stock futures suck. Like, unless you're holding all day and you're just trying to bet on whether the day is going to be red or green, I don't know if there's much you can do with these things. This is why they got rid of single stock futures in the first place, because there was no freaking volume. But nobody's really trading these. There's just no volume. I don't know why they chose to do this right now, though. Like, okay, if you're going to debut single stock futures, why in the world would you debut them as soon as the PDT rule goes away? You know? Why? Because you don't need 25,000 to trade stocks anymore. And so, like, you basically took away the reason to trade single stock futures right before you debuted them. Just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, they had him in the past. They got rid of him. We're still pretty sideways here, and I don't know if there's a... We got the 9 a.m. scrum happening in about, what, 11 minutes? Yeah, about 11 minutes. We'll see if we get any movement there. It's been back and forth regarding Iran news and geopolitics this morning. Are y'all bullish or bearish on the inflation report tomorrow? NQ used to be a lot tougher. My long term is green this AM before open. I mean, I'm up a little bit, very small amount. I hope I can build up a profit today, or a larger profit, but no, honestly, dude, like, it's even worse yesterday, bro. Yesterday was the worst, dude. You know what happened yesterday, bro? So my son, I'm trying to teach him how to cast. And it's a little pond that we're fishing in. I'm trying to teach him how to cast, you know. And he's throwing it like a foot in front of him. You know, and he knows how to do it. He's just kind of learning to spin reel. But I'm trying to teach him, and I'm like, hey, bro, let me show you how to use this thing. And so... And he's like, and before I do it, he's like, no, bro. He's like, you're not taking my pole and putting it in the water, because then you're going to hook something and you're going to take credit for it. And it's going to be your fish, not mine. And I'm like, no, dude. Like, let me just show you how to cast this. And he's like, all right, fine. And bro, I swear, dude, I throw it in the water. Literally 5 seconds later, I get a bass hook, like a bass bite. And as soon as I throw it in the water, the bass bites. My son was so upset, dude. My son was so upset. Like, it literally took 5 seconds. And I wasn't even trying to catch anything. I was trying to show him where to put it. I didn't have the opportunity to. And then it turned into a mess here. So, just unlucky. Just unlucky. Or too lucky. I don't know which one it is. Like, genuinely the worst thing that could happen there. I mean, I was glad I caught one, but, like, not good. Yeah, again, I saw Iran's Supreme National Security Council Secretary says diplomatic policy will follow this, the leader's guidance, prioritizing stronger deterrence, resistance to any enemy coercion, and an immediate decisive response to any aggression. Iran will not back down if its people's rights or interests are threatened. Yeah, it was, I don't know if it was good or bad, but I know what, my son was not happy. We tried to throw it in the same spot again. They just didn't bite, though. Alright, guys, look. We got 8 minutes left until the 9 a.m. scrum. The 9 a.m. scrum has been moving a lot. Like, we've seen markets move a lot. Oil is still down some from where it was earlier this morning, but it's still higher than where it was about a day ago here. You can see oil was at $74 a barrel back, you know, less than a week ago. Today it's at 82s, was all the way up to almost $85 a barrel. I don't know what to do with that song. But yeah, now it's back up to 82.5s a barrel on more Strait of Hormuz worries. But then we got news from Pakistan earlier, and as I say, this oil is starting to jump a little bit. Maybe not jump, but it's starting to still try to move up. It's still technically green on the day. But we got news from Pakistan earlier that puts oil back down from the 85 level. The Pakistan defense minister signaled that the U.S. and Iran are close to some agreement. And essentially that it could be a sign of peace in the Middle East and all this other stuff. And that pushed oil down. This is where that news came out right here. Basically, right before I started the stream, this news came out and oil dropped. It's since bounced back some. It's at 82.5s now. And then again, we got news of more escalation after this here. So essentially after this, we got news of U.S. forces reportedly firing on a Panama flag ship that attempted to run the American blockade. And that kind of pushed oil back up, you know, and it pushed the NASDAQ back down. But again, this is all ahead of CPI tomorrow, which is going to be influential over yields and markets, obviously. NASDAQ is still kind of quiet here, really rangy, and it is the day before CPI, so maybe we'll have a higher chance of ranges. Somebody's asking what happens at 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, you know, it all has to do with brokers unlocking trading. And so at 9 a.m., we call it the 9 a.m. scrum, sometimes we get volatility at 9 o'clock. Just because orders are unlocked at certain brokers. Then at 9:25 we get the market on open data, which can move things. And yeah. Taco Tuesday, maybe. Chevron. How long high need oil to stay to affect NASDAQ? I mean, high oil almost immediately is going to affect the NASDAQ here. It depends on how big of a move, obviously. But I would say if oil spikes up, you know, 40 points, 50 points, NASDAQ is probably going to react. Redbook just showed up at 8.3% as well. But yeah, I'd say if oil pops up, you know, 50 points, 40 points, NASDAQ will react. Depends on if it's catalyst driven or not, though. But even if it's not, I think the NASDAQ's still going to react to it. Yeah. Alright, guys, let's see what we get here with this. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, Redbook should have been 8.3. It was previously came in at 8.7, so it did show up weaker. Again, Pakistan says the U.S. and Iran are close to some arrangement on peace. Patrick Witt says America can't wait forever on the Clarity Act. The delay is weakening our national security, he says. I mean, we haven't really gotten many market-moving tweets lately from the president. So we haven't gotten big moves here. Here's oil. We got about 3 minutes left until 9 o'clock. We'll see if markets move. We do see a flag pattern here, a triangle pattern, whatever you want to call it. You know, so we do see a flag or a triangle pattern. I still think this is just showing sideways choppiness. I don't think the markets are really moving that much. ahead of the opening bell. We'll see if we get some better ranges to attack. But we are green on the day. It's very small. But 9 o'clock is basically here. Oil still slowly creeping back up. Still green on the day. Also, remember, guys, check out Lucid if you want to help support the channel. Lucid has end-of-day drawdown options and everything. I really like Lucid because I say this all the time, but the funded account on Lucid Flex is the best funded account to get in funding in general, in my opinion. Like Lucid Flex, you can turn the daily loss limit off for one. You can see the drawdown type is end of day, which means like the drawdown doesn't follow you higher. 50% consistency, but once you're actually funded here, no consistency and funded. You only need 5 days of a certain amount of profit. You know, you can turn. There's a $1,200 daily loss limit, but again, there's end of day drawdowns, no consistency and funded. Only need 5 payouts to live, and activation fee is free. There's no activation fee here. So I still think Lucid Flex is the best account to get funded in. I'll put the link up if you want to help support the channel. Again, you can use code BGT at those. Help support us. We appreciate them. SpaceX honestly has bounced back a lot. But, John, what's your definition of a good day? Well, $1,000. I mean, a good day is probably like $2,000, $3,000. What do you consider a good day, chat, in profit? I would say 1.5, you know, is a pretty good day. It just depends. I mean, obviously you have bigger days, but the bigger the day, you got to take more risk. Here's 9 o'clock right now, guys. Let's see if 9 o'clock moves anything. So here's 9 o'clock. Let's see if 9 o'clock moves anything for the 9 a.m. orders opening up here. 500 to 1,000. 400s. Yeah, a green day is good. 500 to 1,000 if a good day, same 1,000 per contract. All right, so NASDAQ getting a little green at 9 o'clock. All right, so we're getting some green at 9 a.m. here. We're at 850s now for the NASDAQ. So look at the NASDAQ getting some movement here. Oil's actually falling down here, so this could be news. Look, here's oil. It could be 9 o'clock data too. Let me check. I don't see anything yet, but look at oil. Could just be 9 a.m., but oil just went red on the day. NASDAQ jumped up to 850 basically. Nvidia is ramping up here as well. Do y'all see anything on this? I don't see anything yet. Very strange though. I mean, NASDAQ did jump up a little bit here, but oil fell quickly. Trade balance for June is 12.46. I don't think that's moving it though either. Weird. Yeah, it could just be 9 a.m. Nvidia's aiming for the new model, the biggest of the family, that it is calling Nemotron 4, to be on par in its performance with the best open source AI models in the world, according to the information. Same news about Pakistan repeated on Forex Factory. Yeah, I mean, that's old news, Brian. We got that news earlier. This is making, whatever this is making oil drop. It could be the 9 a.m. data here. But it's not a small move for oil. And oil doesn't really move like this from the 9 a.m. scrum. Like, look how big this candle is. Or these string of candles are on oil. So, I mean, it could be, I guess. But we don't really have any reason for it. Look at oil fall. Oil's now testing 82s a barrel now. Nasdaq's not really moving up simultaneously, though, so it could just be some orders going through, I guess. You get Nvidia developing open source AI model Nemotron. Nvidia's moving up some. Look at oil fall. I don't see anything either. So, could just be 9 o'clock, I guess. Oil's still dipping. Yeah, I mean, look at the move in oil. Very rangy here. I'm tempted to long this again, but yeah, single stock futures core, you're not looking good. Hey, some of you guys are delayed on the stream. Hit the live button next to the play button. You'll catch up. Big range here for oil, though. Nasdaq now fading back down here, too. Look. Very flat, though, ahead of CPI tomorrow, guys, is what this is. We're up to 840s now. Yeah, I don't see any catalyst to move oil, so I guess oil's just moving down from 9 o'clock. Nvidia, again, developing their new AI model Nemotron, according to the information. It's up to 221s. But I don't really see a reason for oil to drop like this. Maybe it's just 9 a.m. But as we get closer to the opening bell, we do have the market on open data that might move things. But again, I'm kind of neutral in markets today. I don't necessarily think we have any easy direction right now. When Nasdaq gained 30,000 at the opening bell, I'm not sure. It's close enough, but we're still what, 840s right now, so we're 156 points away from 30,000. So we got some space before we hit that. I mean, we'd have to really run at the opening bell for the Nasdaq to start testing that. I mean, it's possible. Okay, got your Tree of Liberty. I'm tempted to buy oil here, but I'm worried if I buy it, I'm going to get news of some type of de-escalating things. Alright, I'm going to buy some here. We'll take 4, maybe 6. Let's see if we bounce. We got a nice green day already, so. Tesla setting up for 375s. The other thing I'm worried about is whoever took this oil, I mean, whatever reason oil decided to just drop all of a sudden. Maybe it's from 8 o'clock or 9 a.m. Alright, so we went long at oil down here. Definitely a risky place to go long. But I'll give it a second. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the time. I don't know. Yeah. We got out of most of it. We'll add back some size if it goes in my favor, and that way it's just small if it continues to fall here. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about Java. That's why I didn't really say it, but I'm worried somebody knows something. That's why oil dropped this much. Which I think right now with the current conditions makes sense. I might get faked out here, but that's alright. We're still green on the day. I see trading firms pay big for Trump post feed. High frequency trading firms are paying $60,000 to $100,000 a month for real-time access to posts from the top Truth Social accounts. According to Trump Media, more than 10 customers have signed up for its Truth API service, which provides faster access to posts. Service has drawn criticism over conflicts between business and, you know. Yeah, it looks like I got faked out of my long here on oil, but that's alright. We'll hold this and add to it if it goes in my favor. I'm reading an article that says we are witnessing the largest CapEx spending spree in world history. Hyperscalers have gone on record a $2.6 trillion in future spending. This includes leases for data centers, infrastructure, and more. Oil up to almost $82 a barrel. I'm worried 82 is going to reject it here, so I was going to add more, but I'm going to wait until we get over this level and hold. Alright guys, we got 20 something minutes left though. AI is not a bubble if CapEx is so high. It depends on if it's justified though. It has less to do with spending and more to do with margins. Margins are going to have a lot to do with it versus spending. That's why the worries about overspending. Yeah, look, $82 did reject it here, so. Very flat day. Just, I would be careful trading today. There's not a lot of good, there's not a lot of good action today in markets here. Again, what sectors do you guys want to buy this morning? Let me know. You want to buy oil, gold, Bitcoin, crypto, NASDAQ? What do you guys think? Coffee. Yeah, fair. Watch chips. Nike down here. My cost is under 41. LE. Archer Aviation. Energy. Healthcare. Micro E-mini. Sometimes Fed. But I'm not a big options guy. I mean, I like options, don't get me wrong, but it has to be the right setup. Usually in like deep volatility is where I'm looking for. So it's got to be the right setup. UNH, look at gold. 5 minute, 1 minute on gold. Yeah, I mean, gold's been on this big rally back up, but a lot of it is, I mean, obviously, like I've said a million times, gold is really rate sensitive right now. I'm just going to get out of this. I don't know if there's much edge here in taking this, get out flat. But gold is really rate sensitive, meaning higher interest rates are going to be negatively impacting gold most of the time in markets over the last few months. Higher bond yields means risk off, less people buy gold and indexes and equities and crypto and more. All the risk on what's considered risk on assets. So with CPI tomorrow, if we show up low for inflation, gold's going to rip, I think. And it's already on this big rally. And so, but if CPI does not show up cool tomorrow and shows up higher, gold might dump. Is kind of the story for gold. Again, we don't know for sure, but these are trades we've seen out of this economic data a lot lately. We've seen movements like this. We've seen gold react well to dovishness and react negatively to hawkishness. And a lot of this is going to have to do with oil as well, but that's the story for gold, is just the inflation report tomorrow. That's going to have a bigger influence. Regardless of what it does today, I think the inflation report will move it a lot tomorrow. Red day until CPI. Gold keeps going up. I mean, long-term gold's one of the best long-term assets, but it can also downtrend for years and years too. So it's not like it always goes up. I mean, long-term it generally does, but short-term, I mean, when I say short-term, I mean like 5 years. You don't know what it's going to do. Nasdaq's starting to fall a little bit though. Getting under that 200 EMA. I don't know if there's an edge in buying the volume-weighted average price here or what, but again, we got 15 minutes until the market opens. Here's gold. Does the mic sound worse right here, or is it better? I'm gonna turn this thing. There we go. That's probably better. Hopefully that's better. Alright guys. We have App Lovin got beat down. Down the CPI tomorrow covers which time period? It covers July. Gold will keep going up and will be. Red day until CPI. I bought Intel. Take it easy. Tesla might do a little pullback today, so it'll give you a good opportunity to buy more Tesla. Your mic is bearish. Is it really bearish, guys? I mean, it is kind of red. Y'all can't see it, but don't judge my mic here, bro. App 11 got beaten down again. ASML is up. Yeah. It's really volatile here too. I mean, here's MU as well. They're green. SanDisk is green. SpaceX, here's Nvidia. Nvidia's been climbing up all morning. I'm really curious to see what it does at the open. We got about 7 minutes into the market on open data. Now, I answered you, Asif. Cold. Your mic is bearish. Yeah, CPI covers July, period. Still watching oil here. Oil at 81.60s. Still kind of fading down. Oil's still red on the day here. Still dropping some. Looks like I can cut this position in the right time for oil. Data won't do anything to markets. I mean, I think it's going to do something to... CPI is going to do something to markets. I think CPI... Will CPI move markets tomorrow, guys? Let me know. But I'm pretty sure CPI is going to move it at least a little bit. Marvell is bouncing a bit after yesterday's beatdown. Yeah, but a lot of tech dropped yesterday. Nvidia pulled back yesterday. Marvell pulled back. A lot of chip stocks pulled back some. Yeah, the CPI moved markets tomorrow, guys. I mean, I don't think this data is nothing. Dude, for sure, yeah, by 500 points, CPI will be cooler, yes. Bitcoin could fall a bit today. I bought the beatdown. John always ignores people. Listen, guys, I'm not trying to ignore anybody here. It's very hard to manage a stream, look at charts, watch to see news coming out, see what market's doing, you know. Sometimes I'm just not looking at the chat. It's not like I'm like, hey, I read this comment, I'm just going to ignore them because I don't like them. Sometimes it's definitely like that. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I don't like that guy, you know. This guy's just trolling me. I'm just going to ignore that guy, you know. Like, that definitely happens. But most of the time, I'm just not looking at the chat at that specific moment in time. You know, some say I don't have 3 eyes here, guys. You know, some say I don't have 3 eyes, and that would probably be true, I would think. And so I can't do all the stuff at once. Don't judge me, chat. Stop making excuses. Definitely making excuses. Gold bearish or bullish. It depends on what the CPI print is. I think we're going to show up slightly higher for CPI. But if we don't, maybe that'll make the market celebrate even more. July, we did have higher oil prices. So looking at it, consequently, we could have higher inflation. And they are betting on higher month-over-month readings. But last time we showed up at, what, 0.4% negative month-over-month for headline. And now we're expecting 0.1 or 0.2%. So we are expected to jump up. I think we're going to show up, if we are higher, only slightly higher. But if we show up cool and markets expect hot, then they might celebrate even more. We might have even more of a jolt to the system in terms of reactions here. So, yeah. No excuse needed. Excellent podcast. Hey, thank you, Stem. Appreciate it, dude. Top 3 closet vapor streamer right now. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, guys. CPI is class 1 data. Yeah, CPI moves markets. It's the biggest, I would say it's the biggest data release. CPI or non-farm payrolls can move markets more than a lot of other reports. FOMC can as well, obviously. It just depends. But CPI is not small data. It's one of the biggest data prints we get every month. So that drops tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I would say in terms of reacting to the chat, I'm one of the most reactive people to the chat. Like, I talk to the chat. Some people don't even say anything to the chat. They just kind of blindly ignore it. I'm not saying I should do that with some of you guys, but, you know. All right, guys, we got the market on open data in 2.5 minutes here. 2.5 minutes. 10-year yield at 4.7, still scary elevated. Yeah, for sure. We have home sale data coming out at 10 a.m. today in, what, 38 minutes. We'll see what that does. But I'm still watching oil this morning. We're still watching gold. Gold just bounced at the previous close. Yeah. Hey, yeah, thank you, Angel. Appreciate it. I don't ignore anybody, dude. All right, so there's a U.S. memo on rescinding the TikTok ban. Is dated August 10th. All right, guys, market on open date in a minute and a half. Let's see what this does. This has been moving markets as well. Venture Global is expecting to produce 85 million metric tons of liquefied natural gas annually by 2029. Year 84 here. You're 84 years old. What was the Civil War like? You know, what was horse and carriages like? What were they like? You know, can you tell me what a rotary phone is? I'll wait your answer, sir. All right, guys, here's the market on open data. We got 30 seconds here. 30 seconds. Ten seconds. All right, guys, here's the market on open day. Let's see if it moves the market. Here's gold. Here's the NASDAQ. We're at 830s here. 830s. Not really getting any movement here from the market on open date. I mean, NASDAQ's wiggling a little bit here, but the opening bell is in about 4.5 minutes. The NASDAQ's not really moving at all. Let's see, oil, gold, very flat ahead of CPI. There's the NASDAQ. I know, it's 1984, the book. I understand. Nvidia's jumping up a little bit here, though. Honestly, 1984, the book, is honestly kind of a scary book if you read it. Like, a lot of the stuff they talked about in 1984 is actually happening right now, and it's really scary because the book was written prior to any of this technology that we have now, and it's incredibly accurate in regards to the technology fears that we're facing today. I'm just going to say that about 1984. Very interesting book. Anyways, Nvidia did jump up a little bit, but we didn't have much action on the NASDAQ on the market on open data. I told you to short gold, John. I mean, listen, if Greenlight Trading, I mean, listen, if they said to short gold, I mean, look, you know, I should just, you know, get a blindfold on, throw it on, and just click sell, apparently. Is that what I should do? All right, Nvidia just broke highs up to 222s. Honestly, gold's not down that much from 4,500s here. I know somebody else that told me to short gold, and gold's up massively from where he shorted it. I'm not going to be specific here. Y'all just have to guess who in the chat I'm talking about. Nvidia up to almost 222s now. Look at Nvidia rise. So Nvidia's starting to test 222s here ahead of the opening bell in 2.5 minutes. Oh, I meant oil? Well, I could throw a dart at a dartboard that says buy or sell, you know, and on oil. And no matter what I hit, I'm probably going to be right. I'm probably going to be right at some point in the next 2 months. You know, that's the nature of oil right now. Nvidia, again, guys, just got over 222s. It's starting to rise a little bit ahead of the opening bell. The Nasdaq starting to rise some as well about 2 minutes before the open. Oil is actually starting to dip some. It's at 81.5. So look at oil here. It's still technically red on the day. Hey, good luck today, guys. Yeah, y'all be careful. It's the day before CPI, so just be careful here. All right, a minute and 15 seconds before the open. Again, headline CPI is expected to rise 0.1% a month in July, rebounding from the negative 0.4%. Annual rate is expected to ease to 3.4%, though core is expected to rise 0.2%. Previously, it was at 0%. Pantheon argues that the report should be enough to keep the FOMC in wait-and-see mode. The consultancy expects core good prices to rise 0.18%, which would be the largest increase in September. It's partly driven by Apple's decision to raise prices across most of its hardware range by 15 to 30% from June. Although we should have softer services components, airfare seeing falling and more. So we'll see what that looks like in regards to the CPI report. We have 30 seconds left. Oil continues to fall a little bit today. Gold has been moving up some. The Nasdaq is still close to 30,000 here. 30K is right here. So we're close enough. We're about 160 points away from 30,000 on the Nasdaq. And the opening bell is in about 15 seconds. So let's see what we get today. Good luck today, guys. Y'all be careful. And here's the opening bell. Good luck, chat. Here's the open. Let's watch the Nasdaq. Let's watch memory. Nasdaq pulling down some at the opening bell. Nvidia moving down a little bit as well here. So again, we're up to 29,800s. Hit the VWAP just now. It's starting to see some red at the open. It's still early though. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move. We're only 20 something seconds into the day yet, so just be careful. Again, him still moving up. All right, look at Hims rip up in the Nasdaq, still fading pretty quickly at the opening bell, though. Gold's not really moving. Oil's jumping up a little bit, but the Nasdaq's slightly red since the open. Depending on how much we drop, I mean, a lot of this is from Nvidia dipping at the open. But depending on how much we drop, I might buy it up. I'll wait and let my time play out here. All right, so I see the Nasdaq still falling here. Nasdaq. I was thinking about buying this. I gotta wait a little while though. I can't really trade yet. It's still too early. Hims must have had some type of news to push it higher though, because Hims just ripped at the open. Nvidia's still dipping down to 220s. So far we are red. I'm still tempted to buy this dip. The Nasdaq basically looks like Nvidia right now. Time is it? I gotta wait about a minute before I can trade, but I'm tempted to buy this up. The Nasdaq is dipped. Spacex. I mean, Spacex went up to almost 140. It pulled back now, though. I'm flat for at least 10 minutes now. I gotta wait a little while longer here. Alright, so we've gotten some red here at the open, but I'm not totally convinced here. So far we've been pretty red. It is the day before CPI, so I'm worried we're just gonna have flat, like boring price action today. But maybe we'll get some ranges to attack. It depends on what Nvidia does. Like memory plays also do here. Alright, the problem is Nvidia does look like it's going to turn down here, so it looks like the Nasdaq might start to come back down. Let's see if it holds, though. We're at this level. I don't know why I have this level on my chart. It's at around 725s, but there's the Nasdaq start to fall. Whoa, look at the Nasdaq drop even more. Yeah. It is the day before CPI. Maybe markets are going to get priced into hawkish bets. It's definitely possible. Nasdaq keeps breaking these lows. 29,700 seems to be a level. Let's see if this level holds. Red, though, at the opening bell for sure on the Nasdaq here. Maybe we start to pop back up, but again, memory is sideways here. The Nasdaq's starting to break down. This is partly given by Nvidia. Nvidia's still flushing down, so this could be just CapEx fears from the $500 billion financing plan from those banks. Let's see if the drop continues here, though. A little bit of a bounce back here. Looks like we want to rally back up here, but a lot of this is Nvidia. Like a lot of these drops we put in so far today are Nvidia. It's CPI day, so I'm really like, again, I'm tempted to buy some of this up. There we go. Just because it is CPI day, and I think there's a chance that we just rally back up some. It's also possible for shorts to just jump on board this and push it back down, though, so just be careful. See if we range back down. We got this level now, too. Nasdaq still pushing towards these lows. Again, Pakistan's interior minister arrives in Tehran. Nvidia is starting to give back some of its gains, though, after this $200 billion financing plan. As part of this, I think. We've been breaking down basically all morning. We'll see if the red continues heading into CPI. Markets might getting priced into a hotter CPI print and hike odds increasing after CPI. That could be what markets start to price in here. But look at memory start to fade back down too here. See if the breakdown continues. Look at the Nasdaq fall here. Oil, MU, and memory play. So basically chips. MU is dropping. SanDisk is starting to pull back some. SK Hynix is pulling back some. Apple is dropping. Nvidia started to dip, but it's kind of starting to bounce back now. Let's see if it holds over 220s. It is CPI day though, so let's CPI, see if CPI affects this now. Like, I think we could chop. All right, I might buy like a dip here if we get like a pullback right now. I might buy a dip. And again, guys, remember the Apex Legacy account. They sent me an email. They say it ends tonight at midnight. No matter, like, they're not going to redo it, basically. And so if you want to check out Apex, again, I'll put the link up. It's a great way to help support your boy here on the channel. You can use my code BGT and get the max discount, whatever that is. There's the link right there. Check it out. It depends on what Nvidia does right here. Nvidia is at the volume weighted average price. Yeah, it's the day before CPI. Sorry, not today. But CPI is tomorrow. PPI is Thursday. Nasdaq consistently starts to rebound. Jeffrey says Spacex and CoreWeave plan to source their AI service directly from Taiwanese ODMs rather than purchasing 100% from Dell. Ooh. SpaceX is actually still red on the day, but Nvidia looks like it's going to turn back down here, to be honest. I might short this now. Small. We are red on the day for sure. Let's see if Nvidia turns back down. There we go. We'll take a little bit of that off here. There we go. Scalp that move. Looks like we got out just in time of that. I mean, this looks bearish now, but I'm just kind of looking at Nvidia in chips to see what they do, to be honest. The drop won't last. Brit will be here tomorrow, guys. Alright, so we are short here. We're still red on the day, but alright, I don't know what I want to do on this drop. I'll take a little bit more off here and just lock it in. Let's see if we could flush some more on the last contract here. If we can break down more, I'll add more to it. There we go. Alright, we'll add some more to this and then hold it break even. See if we start pushing towards these lows. Fear picks up. There we go. Yep. Alright, we're gonna get out there. Alright, cool. Nasdaq still pushing towards these lows. Orb. Yeah, the orb closes in a minute here. But I mean, we've already broken down a little bit. I mean, we got a range. 765 previous close is kind of the top level here. 700s could be the bottom. Spacex is green. SpaceX is red on the day. I usually look at like Nvidia as a proxy for markets a lot of the time based off of it. So like if Nvidia looks bearish, that's kind of why I'll be like, hey, let me short. So Nvidia's done this. I don't know what Nvidia is going to continue doing today, but I've been watching it and using that to gauge NASDAQ. It's something I've been doing. And here's some NASDAQ weakness. Again, a lot of this is also, again, like MU's at previous closing price. SanDisk is starting to break down a little bit. Like AMD is down. Meta's pulling back. Microsoft's pulling back. So a lot of stuff's actually looking kind of red today. There's the NASDAQ fall. About to test the low of the day here in the NQ. We're at 690s. Oh, I thought you meant SpaceX market maker. Sorry. Gold popping up. I just cracked the lows of the day. Weird. Did y'all see that freeze here on Trade Evade? That was very strange. Nasdaq just cracked lows. Looks bloody a little bit here. Gold is moving up some. Again, Pakistan's interior minister arrived in Tehran. Existing home sales might move things if they're like really weak or something like that, but generally no, they're not going to move much. They might move 10-year yields, which might have an effect on other things, but not in some big profound way, I think is the point. Nasdaq still looking weak here. Testing lows, just crack lows again on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq still falling. Again, 29,640s. We're at 650s now. Nvidia starting to rebound back up. That could be driving this here. All right, so we'll see if we crack lows again. Nvidia still looks weak here, but again, it's CPI day, so I'm a little bit less sure about following trends, to be honest. CPI's tomorrow. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to buy it up, but I think it's also risky. But I'll try a small trade here on a couple contracts and see if we can move back up now. There we go. There we go. All right, we'll get out a little bit there. Take a little bit more off at the top up here. Just scalp this move up. No, what I'm saying is that markets might move choppy ahead of CPI. Like today, the markets might move choppy ahead of CPI tomorrow. CPI is not today, CPI is tomorrow. If I say today, my bad. But what I'm talking about is that markets might be choppy today in anticipation of CPI tomorrow. That's what I mean. Nvidia breaking down a little bit now, though, moving back under 220s. This looks bearish. Yeah. Yeah, we do have existing home sales in 10 minutes. See what we get for them. But we do have existing home sales soon. I mean, we do have somewhat of a trend. Again, chat, does CPI show up elevated tomorrow or not? %53% out of 800 votes think higher than expected CPI inflation data tomorrow. 24% think lower, 23% think we're going to show up as expected. Also, guys, if you haven't already, join our Discord. Our Discord is completely free. It doesn't cost anything. We got a lot of good content posted there, so if you want to check it out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. We are getting a little bounce here in the NQ. But there's the Discord link right there. If you haven't joined it yet, check it out. I don't know, Nvidia's still falling down to break lows, so I'm kind of tempted to short this. Maybe a little bit greedy here, though. Here's gold. Gold is very flat. All right, NASDAQ just jumped up pretty fast. Might fall down more here. Nasdaq's right at that bottom range level. It is CPI day though. I just don't know if I trust anything right now. Again, here's Nvidia. Nvidia's right at this low level here. I'm trying to watch memory. MU pulling back. 855s. SanDisk at 1250s. Yeah, Google's red as well. $700 is not that far away from us though in the NQ. We do have existing home sales in about 5 minutes. Nasdaq still pushing down. Oil jumping. Not enough to be news, I don't think. Small. Nothing crazy yet for oil. Oh, Trump is speaking right now. Trump said the war was necessary to prevent Iran from possessing nuclear. If we hadn't struck them, they would have gotten nuclear. Oil prices are lower than they were in the previous administration, he says. So he's speaking somewhere right now. I'm not sure exactly where, but I see the quotes coming through tape. Where's Amazon? Listing while taking a walk with the kids here. Yeah, so the president's speaking right now. Somewhere. I don't know where. But he's doing some type of speech right now. Or he's doing some type of quote, probably on a news station. He said, frustrated with Iran's negotiating style. The Iranian economy is in a state of chaos. They are playing tricks on us by agreeing in the meeting rooms and then refusing to say it through the media. So it's not through the White House page. Yeah, it's not through the White House page. We'll continue to cover the quotes as it happens, though, with the president speaking right now. Nvidia starting to bounce up. I'm going to short this at 700 and see if this holds small and then add back to it maybe. We'll take 4 contracts here. If we start to flush down at 700s. We'll give it a second. There we go. Take a little bit off. Nvidia just cracked lows again. I'm gonna add some to this as it happens. See if it pushes back down some here. I gotta check the quotes here. Trump said if we hadn't struck them, they would have gotten nuclear. He said Iran agrees privately, refuses publicly. Or frustrated with their negotiation style. All right, so Canadian Trade Minister is going to meet Greer. We have about 40 seconds until existing home sales drop. I'm going to reduce the size a little bit in this. We'll hold a small piece of this. But yeah, we got existing home sales. I don't think this is really going to move markets like that, to be honest. All right, I'm out. Too big of a squeeze up here. Nvidia just bounced right at lows. Alright, so the president said, quote, the Iranians are extremely cunning negotiators because they agree to do something, or they agree to something and then go out and tell the press that they didn't agree to it. Nasdaq just jumped here, though. Existing home sales are out. They showed up at 4.06 million, basically flat. They expected 4.05, so it's basically flat. They came in down 1.7% from the last 4.13 meeting or reading. So essentially flat here for existing home sales. All right, Nasdaq's starting to bounce back here, but again, I think we could just get choppiness and flat action today ahead of CPI. Nasdaq starting to rebound a little bit here. Almost to that previous closing level ahead of CPI. I mean, we get it from a bunch of different sources, so we cover it from a bunch of different readings. Nasdaq with a big bounce back, though. Let's see if it holds. VWAP's right here, 200 exponentials right here, so it's got to get through some levels. Here's the VWAP. Let's see if Nasdaq gets over it. Watch Nvidia. MU. Sandisk. Memory names starting to bounce back some. They might be dragging the market back up here. We're at the VWAP though. Let's see if we hold and the previous closing price. I mean, that's kind of what we see in history of these conflicts. Showed up red on the Nasdaq. Let's see if we hold down now. We already tested the VWAP once. Let's see if we retest and get over it here. The VWAP's right there. Let's see if it holds. Again, with CPI day tomorrow, could make markets just kind of flat. We do have some earnings after the bell today. What do we have? Like CoreWeave and something else. Supermicro Semiconductors and CoreWeave. at the close today. But we're basically right here, VWAP 200 exponential, both at the same spot right now. Maybe that'll hold its resistance, but maybe if we get back over it, maybe markets price it in as optimistic here. There's a little pop higher. And remember, guys, today Apex did send an email to me and said that today's the last day for the legacy accounts. And so if you haven't already gotten a legacy account, you know, that is ending tomorrow for Apex. If you want to check them out, again, they have cheap accounts. You can get a 5-pack bundle of the base accounts on Apex for $75 right now. Basically $15 accounts. Very good to learn on, useful. Here's the link if you want to check it out. Great way to help support the channel. You can use code BGT, get the discount. Trump said, I mean, he didn't really say anything else since then. Yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and cut it ahead of CPI tomorrow, guys. I don't think we have anything really going on today. Market's really boring right now. It's really big range back and forth. Kind of what I expected it to be. But the market is not very exciting right now here. And so again, if you want to help support the channel, use code BGT at checkout. You'll get the max discount. On Lucid, Apex, Tradeify, Take Profit. Great way to help support the channel. We appreciate the love here, guys. Real quick, are y'all bullish or bearish on CPI tomorrow? Let me know in chat right now before we leave. Bull or bear for tomorrow, guys, before we cut out of here? What do you guys think? I'm gonna go bearish, but I think if we show up bullish, it'll be even more exciting. People will celebrate, obviously. So I think if we show up lower, people will freaking celebrate. Bull. Most people are bullish here, interesting enough. So most people are bullish, it seems. Got to see market close bearish. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and bow out for the day. Y'all be good. Have a great day. It's too choppy right now for me. It's too boring here. So I love to everybody here. I appreciate the love. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Be safe in markets, guys. Be safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. CPI inflation data 8:30. Love to everybody here. Y'all be good. Have a great day.